we starting with Skip and Shannon.
Skip and Shannon, yeah. Will G says, I'm afraid Skip's going to be hurting. He is going to need legend like Ray Lewis status to replace Uncle Shannon. All right, so let's recap what happened because we didn't really we touched on it a little bit last week. But basically, I mean, everybody knows by now that FS1 is buying out Shannon Sharpe, right? And there's a lot of speculation as to what happened. A lot of people think it stemmed from back when the Damar Hamlin situation went down. That was kind of like the breaking point where, Skip tweeted out something that Shannon didn't appreciate for that situation, and they're coming on the show the next week or the next day to talk about it. And Shannon was kind of opening up, just giving his little spiel on it, and in Skip fashion, he cut him off, and they had a real argument that wasn't scripted. They had a real argument, a real moment live on television, and Shannon Sharpe just cut the segment short. So you already knew that was an issue then. And then I guess a few weeks later, Skip did it again. He took a jab at Shannon on their Tom Brady segment that honestly didn't even need to happen.
It wasn't a jab. I mean, he was throwing haymakers in that one.
Yeah, said that you
who are you?
The player. Yeah, you weren't the player that Tom Brady was, and all that stuff. And again, you had another real moment that happened live on air, and people think that was the nail in the coffin.
Retired as possibly the greatest ever in his position, by the way.
But I've been trying to throw this out here for a while, right? Nobody's taking the bait here. I've been throwing this out there. Did it stem? Like, yes, that was the final. That was the final nail in the coffin. That was the last straw. But did it stem from a contract dispute? I think it did, because it was reported a while back that Shannon Sharpe was trying to make more money than Skip. Right. And at this point, I think he is bigger than Skip, right? And I think he's showing it. You're shaking your head, but both of them have podcasts, and Shannon's is way bigger than Skip's.
Way bigger.
Okay.
Way bigger.
You look at what anytime anything's this show is trending on social media, it's Shannon that's trending. You can measure popularity. I think it's not even in question. Shannon's more popular than Skip. And I think that's why look, he's got his podcast, Club Shay Shay, that's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube now. I don't know how that. Yeah. I mean, he came out of nowhere. I didn't realize it was that big. And he gets to keep that in the buyout. I think this split is going to expose it a little bit, right? Now, B made a point that Skip has done this before with Stephen A. And then he went and brought Shannon on, and that blew up, and he thinks it can blow up again. I don't think so, right? And not just because I don't think he'll be able to get somebody that type of talent like Shannon. Also, I just think it's the time that we're in, right? That debate style is kind of fading a little bit. People don't really want to see that as much anymore, and that's all Skip knows how to do. So, but we'll start with you, because you're shaking your head. You don't agree with anything I say, even though I know deep down inside you do. But go ahead, tell me why I'm wrong.
I mean, because you're usually always wrong. Like Brodny said, like Skip, he left ESPN, the biggest sports out there, and then went to FS1, who was nothing, and turned them into a household name.
The NASCAR channel.
They weren't nothing. FS1 was not nothing. They had no shows other than football or whatever. That's it.
No, I think NASCAR.
Yeah, NASCAR. So he turned them into a watchable show. Now I agree with you. Shannon Sharpe is more popular than Skip.
Yeah.
But more eyes are going to be on Skip. Why? Why? Because
I'm right.
No. He's popular, meaning people like him, but more people are going to watch Skip to see what he has to say, to ridicule him, to try to get him to slip up and say something. Yeah, hate watch, basically, And so, to me, I think Shannon's going to leave, and then it's just going to slowly trickle down, or he'll just plateau. He'll just be here. He'll never go up. He'll never go down. He'll just be even. Whereas Skip, if he gets somebody, now I I haven't really been reading, but I've seen a couple of things here or there. Supposedly AB, that would be hilarious. I don't, that would be hilarious. What if he did get a Tom Brady? What if he, or or if he would have got somebody else?
Tom Brady would be terrible for the show.
I think for me, the problem I have with Shannon is like, okay, cool, you were a great player, and like Brodny said, you retired probably the best at that time of your position.
He was,
but like some of the stuff he says, I can't agree with him. You are a football player, but then you try to, because he even said it himself. He goes, "Oh, I didn't realize I was able to talk other sports." I mean, anybody could talk other sports, but some of the stuff, like how he acted on the court, when with LA and Grizzlies, really kind of turned me off to him.
You mean him being the only person who cares about Ja, wanted to put him in his place, wanted to take him down?
I mean, but then you want to come on TV. You want to come on TV and start yelling at fans when you did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Media is becoming more digital now, right?
Yeah.
Like less and less people are tuning into cable to watch these shows. Like, I mean, what the ratings are for Undisputed, I'm sure they were high. I think it's the #1 show, in terms of major media, right? Obviously, it's going to go down.
Still behind First Take.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
First Take, because ESPN and First Take has the rotating guests. So like on Mondays they got Chris Mad Dog Russo, and on Tuesday JJ Redick shows up, and on Wednesdays like it's the world versus Stephen A. And I think kind of every other day is kind of different.
But that's what's about to happen with this show, right?
The world versus Skip.
Yeah, and like some of the people that they're floating out there, it's just not going to work, man. Like I think Shady McCoy is a terrible choice.
He's trash. Right? He's trash on TV.
I like Nick Wright personally, but I don't think that's going to work.
Well, because he is Skip, so that would
just Skip.
I don't think
you know who they should take with Skip, because she has trash take too. Go put Joy Taylor over there.
But she's another one.
She's on speak. She's on speak.
But she was another candidate, and I think, but I don't think that's going to work. You need somebody that has that charisma, that has that that energy, and that's the
put me on the show.
That's the opposite of Skip, right? Like it's all these things meshed into one that makes it work. But if you, I mean, I think Shady, he says things just for shock value, but you already had that in Skip, right? You can't have another person that's just disliked, he's not likable on the opposite side.
And he
right?
just says, he just lies.
Yeah. Now B has brought up two good candidates. Who were those candidates, B?
I do not remember.
Andrew Hawkins and Spice Adams.
Yeah.
But the problem I've thrown out there is I don't think guys like that
Spice Adams? Oh, okay.
I think that would be great. But
it would be because he don't want to do that.
That's bingo.
Because Spice has his own. He's created his own lane. Him and Lou Young have kind of are in that similar vein.
Yes.
But Spice was first. Now Lou's coming up. Yeah. Andrew Hawkins he's too logical. Andrew Hawkins.
Well, that's what you need. That's what makes it work.
You want to get two people. Like I know we're messing around. Ferris would be great with Skip Bayless, but if you really want to get two people on that would challenge Skip, wouldn't back down, and would be able to talk sports, get Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson.
Jack.
But they have their own thing going.
Yeah, but they have
they only do that like once a week, I think. It's a big show, but you gotta remember, but you could do Monday through Friday, and that's going to promote your show, and then also give you a steady paycheck, plus bring traffic to your show.
What the problem is also Matt Barnes does spots for ESPN, as well as he also.
But he could probably get out of that.
But also,
he also works for NBC Sports California.
But speaking of Matt Barnes,
on the Kings coverage,
Matt Barnes just recently talked about how a lot of people have beef with Skip. He came out and said, hey, there were two situations where he had to kind of get Shannon Sharpe to play mediator, because he said there are two people, one was a coach, one was a player, that wanted to beat up Skip. So you had that come out recently. Also, I just was watching earlier today. Dan Le Batard was talking about it on his show. So Skip, was talking about Jimmy Butler, right, and his poor performance so far in the finals. And he attributed it to his father being sick, right? And apparently that was something that was supposed to be kept secret. Everybody in media knew about it, but they're trying to keep it private out of respect for Jimmy Butler. And Skip said, nah, F that. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it out there on the show. So, you know, he's getting to a point where he's becoming too toxic, I think. So, you know, I don't think you're going to find a viable option to work with Skip. And that's what Skip needs for his show to work. Like Skip helped usher in this whole debate culture.
Yeah.
Right. But that's all he does. You don't ever see him on anything else other than his own podcast. This is all he knows. And if he can't get anybody to do that with him, he's cooked.
Which is sad because he was one of the best beat reporters in the nation. Like,
that was like 50 years ago.
Well, yeah, he still
back
was,
when he was that's when SMU was running college football.
He's the reason SMU got burned.
You are offending Ferris's 80-year-old sensibilities right now.
Yeah, man. No, talking about because you know, the reason like him and Stephen A. Smith have these like now jobs, right, is that they were these respected beat reporters and they were on the grind, right? And then like you kind of reward those reporters, right? You pick a reporter and you reward them with like money in a show. That's what Skip and Stephen A. were. They were rewarded with like
Kornheiser. And,
you rewarded them, you know, because the PTI came first, and then like a year later, First Take showed up. And then
no. What was the other one with the Ford?
That's around the horn.
That's what we need. Why are we not doing that kind of shit? Because if we did an uncensored version of Around the Horn,
because you would storm off of this show if
it would be amazing.
Where's my point?
Where's
my point?
The people on the bottom of this screen would quit after one episode, screaming and cursing about their points.
Yeah.
Hey, if Jose was able to control the mute button, I think we'd be fine.